Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Nothing But the Truth with me, your host, Reverend Dr. Allen Dillon, presidential candidate for 2028. Now, this evening, again, I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm going to just keep things short, sweet, and to the point because too many people out there only see me as a Trump hater or that I'm a Democrat or that, I'm completely against Republicans and this and that. No, what I am against are the extremes of each side. I'm against the extreme far right, which has taken to the point where it's almost cultish. And I mean this because, and I want you guys to research, I want you guys to get a hold of GC Network. I want you guys to ask to come on my show, prove me wrong, have an open discussion with me. Because on the far right, it's gotten to a point to where even Christian churches have no longer separated, politics from religion, to where if you are not a Republican, if you don't support Trump, if you don't praise Trump, if you, don't celebrate him, anything else, and this is going on in churches for people who have been going there for decades, to where generations have gone there, is where this kind of stuff is going on. So if this kind of stuff is going on within our churches, how do you think it's going on in our military? Think about all of the structured systems that we have, to where they've now come under fire with this whole 2.5 million emails that were sent out, to where just about every governmental system that could challenge, that disagrees with, that believes that change needs for the better needs to be made, for the 99% and for those who continuously go without and are overlooked, those who don't bow down to kiss the ring or any other area on Trump and just solely, do everything that he wants done. Because if you've read any of his memorandums, presidential executive orders, as well as listened to the things that he's said as well as done, to where he's not, he's coming up on his first 100 days in office, not too far from now. And that's scary, because by the end of next month, he'll have been in office for 100 days. And right now, he's been in there for, I don't know, a little over 70. Yeah, obviously. He's been in there for 79 days so far. Think about that. He's been in it for 79 days, and he's alienated us from, the UN, as well as, kicked up a lot of hatred towards the United States by a lot of what used to be very close and relied upon allies, countries that we do commerce with, that we need in order to continue to function. Countries that have been our neighbors and who are now at the point to where it's, well, screw you guys. We would have helped you if you came to us in a different way or approached us a different way, but you want to sit here and have a financial war, then so be it. Then you also have countries like Russia who are current sitting dictator, and that's what he's become, is a dictator, because there's no president in history who has acted this way, to where he has allowed someone with no official elected position, no official appointed position, no official, agreed upon position. He has access to the most sensitive information for our country. Everything. Not to mention the fact that the dictator and Musk have really taken a chunk out of the sturdy tree and sturdy pillar that has become part of the civil rights movement by removing DEI and removing any factions of DEI, any government positions of DEI, anything, and making it known to all colleges and all corporations and everything else, to where, hey, we're returning this back to the good old boys, frame of mind. That's how far of a step back we've taken and how much of a chunk out of the pillar of civil rights that has been taken out. Because right now, that means that even on this merit-based system, which, if you paid attention to it in his presidential order, it states that as long as they have the merit to earn the position and to where they are completely and 100% dedicated to Trump's vision. Again, there's no president in history who has shown such a dictatorship attitude or authoritarianship attitude in our nation since its birth. Last time I checked, when a lot of our ancestors came over here, some willingly, obviously, some of our ancestors unwillingly, they were trying to escape persecution and escape tyranny and escape oppression and everything else. And now he's going to decide to rewind the hands of time and, to before the Boston Tea Party. I mean, what is it going to take? I'll tell you guys. This is what I'm calling out for you guys to do. So, and no, this is not to be, meant as an April Fool's joke. Nothing. Is April 1st. Make sure, or by April 1st, matter of fact, just to give you guys some time, April 4th, which is this coming Friday. So April 4th, 2025, I want you guys to make sure that you have a week's worth of food. Make sure that, you know, you guys take all your vacation time, your PTO time, everything. And honestly, those who, work in, whether it be fast food or, service jobs or anything else, take the following week off. So I'm talking about from the 6th to the 11th that nobody buys anything from any of the corporate shops, no gas stations from, any corporate chains. If it's a local mom and pops, for like just your county or whatever, fine. Only go to, if you're going to eat out, only local restaurants. No, and I mean no corporate or no chain restaurants that go outside your county. Also, don't shop to when you're shopping for that week of not, going to work, not doing anything, because we are going to shut this government down. We're going to shut America down for a week. That means that everybody, even if you are a federal employee, because I know that even you guys are tired of this and are upset and are angry with all these policies, with, having to see people lose their jobs just because, the dictator and Elon don't want you to have the job. No more of that. Now is our time to show them that the 99%, that without us, the 1% and the good old boys of the 1% of the 1%, they don't exist. So that means everybody. I don't care if you're a movie extra. I don't care, like I said, what your work is take the week off. If you're in your union, make sure that, your union strikes for a week. Whatever it takes, because teachers need more money, because all you union workers out there, you deserve more contracts, you deserve more equal pay, you deserve more equal everything, because you guys have been pushed out. Because unless the money's flowing into the right hands, it seems that you can't get a job no more. So that's what I'm telling you guys. Unless, but if you have court, please go to court, because I don't want to see anybody get locked up for a warrant or a failure to appear or nothing, okay? I'm not saying don't go to court, but other than that, do not do anything in order to help corporate America. That means, if it's hair salon or you want to get your hair did or whatever, make sure it's from, a local shop, not like Hair Cuttery or any of the other, big chains. If you're going to get gas, again, even if you pay 3 cents more, get it from a mom and pop's place, because I guarantee you that that 3 cents extra that they're charging is because they're taxed higher than the big chains and corporations. So that's why I'm calling upon this. We are going to shut down everything. That means truckers. That means, like I said, fast food servers. That means, maids. That means everyone. Everyone, unless, you are obviously in the emergency field, doctor or uh, ambulance and firefighter. We need you guys, and police officers, just make sure that nobody's looting, because I'm telling you, I don't want nobody looting either. I don't want this to be something seen as, anarchy. No, we are doing this peacefully, but we're doing this, and we're going to make sure that our message is heard loud and clear. I'm tired of, oh, well, just do it for 24 hours. Oh, well, we'll do it, on this day or for this weekend. No, we are going to do it from the 6th to the 11th for an entire week. We are going to shut down and show the 1%. That means customer service reps and everything. And if you know customer service reps, to where, they work in, any of the out of the country and, sublet or wherever, customer service centers, tell them, take the week off. Make sure you guys, and the thing is that you are covered, because you cannot lose your job by peacefully protesting. And even if the other thing that you can do is, even if you're required to work, you can go on the grounds and you can go on strike. So whatever it takes for them to get the message, whatever it takes for them to hear, now's the time. Because the dictator and Elon, they're so worried about making sure that they're cutting all ties with all of our allies and cutting all ties with, our neighbors. And, they're not doing anything for us, the Americans, the 99%, the people. Because wasn't that something that's been promised? And that was supposed to happen on day one, the whole price freeze. And again, I will refer back to his, speech to Congress. If you look at that, not one thing was mentioned about the price freeze. Not one thing was mentioned about gas prices being lowered. So let's make sure that this dictator and Elon Musk knows that we're not messing around, that this is not a game to us, that either you're going to keep your word or we, the people, shall hold you accountable. Because we have the right to peacefully protest. We have a right to strike. And it would not be the first time that across America, all workers went on strike. Look at history. There's been so many times to where it took such a radical action by the people, of the people, so that for the people, things were changed. This is what I'm calling you for. Whether you decide to do it or not, that is clearly your decision. I cannot force you. But think about this. Look at your children. They're the ones who are looking up to you. They're the ones who are taking cues from you as to whether you should allow someone to bully you, someone to lie to your face, someone to continuously not keep their word, for someone to claim to represent you, but yet pretty much put their fingers in their ear and go la 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 and act like they don't hear you. Because this one day at a time, 1 week at a time stuff, it's not working. This boycotting, this or, going on strike for that is not working. So, but I guarantee you that if we Americans all come together and during that week, either, but again, make sure that, do stuff with your family, catch up with your kids, but don't pay anything out to the big corporations. Make sure that you get all your meds filled, everything else before them. Make sure that, like I said, don't leave anything off your list, but from April 6th through the 11th, we are going to do nothing. Netflix and chill. Like I said, go, on a short vacation, camping or something, but don't give in to the big corporations. And honestly, for those who have, bills that are due that particular week, just wait till the following week to pay, because the thing is, that is a peaceful protest as well. And they can't charge you any penalties or fees. Trust me, it's in their contracts. Plus, you're covered by federal law. These are the things that I'm trying to open up your mind to, because the way things are going now is they've tested each and every one of you, America, and every single one, Trumpanites to even the far left, who, of course, are blaming, they blame everybody for their problems, and just the far left is just those who can't get their way and want to throw a temper tantrum.
We've got passion, we've got determination.
I'm sorry,
like,
but
if we say
somebody has to say
something, you better believe it's happening.
But if we start meeting in the middle, and if we start actually coming together as a people, as the United States, instead of the divided states of America, we are stronger than just doing this by ourselves. And honestly, for those of you who, have those who, are afraid to color outside the lines, or, I don't want to get in trouble, or, I don't want to lose my job, guess what? They cannot fire you, because I guarantee you that they can't rehire all of America. It's just not going to happen. And how I can tell you this is that, Trump already said that, and trust me, he's been pushing this mass deportation because, he's been on ice and everything else, forcing them to overcrowd these detention centers and everything else. And it's like, as soon as there's an inch, he wants to shove a foot in, because he's trying to continue this deportation. So, that, he's going to not allow anybody from outside the country get the job. So, job security. And Am I saying that sarcastically? Damn right, because I believe that there are people that come here who actually need to change their life, who actually desire and want so bad to be able to have their children walk outside and not have to, and go outside and play and not have to worry if whether they're going to be hit with a stray bullet. And yes, I'm calling on everybody from every community to, number one, we need to stop the infighting. Okay? That means everybody from race, creed, color, sex, sexual orientation, all of it. We need to stop self-hating. We need to stop the self-destruction, because guess what? That's what the dictator and Elon Musk and people like them, that's what they want. They want us to tear ourselves apart so that they can swoop in and act like heroes, and to where, guess what? They're going to turn around and declare martial law. If you think I'm kidding, obviously you guys have not read anything as far as Project 2025, because it's in there for Trump to take this to martial law. So we need to, again, prepare for the 6th to the 11th, from Sunday the 6th, Saturday the 11th. Everybody take off work, go on strike, protest at your job, for the stuff that you need, because that's the thing, is that even in the healthcare systems, there's plenty of nurses and doctors who are sick and tired of seeing people turned away, which the actual constitutional law is that anybody who is sick or injured, and the federal law states that anybody who is sick or injured, insurance or not, cannot be turned away from a hospital, even if they are not insured. Why? Because it's constitutional common law that aid must be provided to all those who are sick or infirm. That's what it states. But insurance companies, they've gotten greedy. Now, I want you guys to also, this one will really, really get to them. I want you guys to also make sure that you seriously, besides shutting down everywhere else, I mean, if you work at a mom and pop place, or work at a local place, then go to work, make sure that that they're helped. But like I said, Walmart, Kmart, any of the big name brands, any of that, no. Chick-fil-A, I love you guys, my son loves you, but sorry, you guys say you're Christian, but yet you are convenient Christians, or selective Christians, I should say, because you pick and choose who you want to allow and who you want to serve and everything else. So those are the reasons why. But like I said, if you work for a mom and pop's place, a restaurant, convenience store, just a local movie theater, but granted, you can go to work there, but I'm telling everybody, you know what? Go to movie theaters, because they, your local movie theaters, not chain, not national or anything else, but your regular, normal mom and pops, drive-ins or movie theater, or locally owned, privately owned, go there, give them business, because they have to pay a certain price in order to get those movies to show them for you. So during this week, take time, go see a movie with your kids. Like I said, go do all the fun stuff, with your kids. But take them to a ball game, take them to anything. Do something other than work, or make sure that you do not shop, buy nothing from any of the corporate places for a week. And like I said, even when you're stocking up and making sure that you're getting ready for that week, for this next week, make sure that you're only buying locally. Make sure that you're taking care of, your farmers and everything else. Because guess what? They're the ones who are very, very much significantly hurting. Because one of the bills and one of the things that Trump has cut the funding to, well, let me rephrase that Elon told Trump to cut the funding to, and the dictator agreed to, was, as far as agriculture goes, all of the funding for, farmers and everything else, yeah, their funding has been cut. The part that they rely on, which is the government supplementation, and grants and everything else that they're supposed to be given every year because of what they supply and keeping up with the government's demands and everything else. So make sure that you go visit your local butchers, your local growers, your local, hatcheries, because there's a lot of places. I mean, even in cities, there's many people, go to the Amish market, go to, like I said, a local, your local market or whatever, because there are people who will come from, the county or the suburbs or wherever, and they will bring, fresh eggs and all that. And guess what? You're definitely going to get a better quality than, the GMO and, or, GH, the growth hormones and the antibiotics and all that other stuff, and, their birds are going to be healthy. You don't have to worry about the bird flu. But like I said, all these things are the problems that keep stacking up against us in America. And if you think that I'm kidding, just look at the fact that Putin has asked Trump and gotten permission, and now has Russian gas stations in Florida. Multiple ones. And he's asking to spread them further north out of Florida. The way things are going over, as far as these peace talks and negotiations, and Trump is giving Putin everything on a silver platter that he wants and everything he's asking for, and the Ukrainian people are the ones who are going to be losing out. It's absolutely ridiculous. What I don't understand is that we're supposed to be the founders and the go-to book for democracy, for a republic, for people who are allowed to stand up for themselves, believe what they want to believe, and not be chastised for it, not be judged for it, and to have those kind of freedoms. We, our country, our people, you and I are the ones that are looked at as far as how it's supposed to work. And yet, right now, we have a dictator who is absolutely tearing that to shreds. We have not just the failings of this peace talks and negotiations when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, which it should be the UN, it should be UN peacekeepers, and it should be NATO that should be taking care of this, and even if America stays out of it, I don't understand why they're not doing anything unless they're just simply waiting for America's blessing or America to give the okay and everything else. No, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. Because guess what? Our, heads of state and, our dictator and whatever position is, that Elon Musk holds, to where he's going and meeting with, government entities and, whether it be, their at their embassies, going to see their prime ministers, going to see the leaders of their country, this, that, the other. Why is he going? He has no position or authority to speak for us, the American people, at all. Why is that happening? And why are deals being made with Israel when the World Court, who Trump is trying to literally thumb his nose at the World Court, that can just as quickly hold him accountable and charge him with crimes, war crimes, and crimes against humanity, the same as they have done Benjamin Netanyahu, because he asked Benjamin Netanyahu and made it known publicly that he wants the Gaza Strip for United States territory. Why? Have we not caused enough disruption and caused enough hatred and enough turned enough people, against the United States for literally going in, promising to help, and then just wiping their hands? Because that's what seems to be the message here, is that, oh yeah, we'll help at a cost. And if if that cost, or that, or if the burden's too high, for them to agree upon, then guess what? We leave those countries to rebuild for themselves instead of helping them. We leave those countries to, implode upon themselves, or to cause, mass executions and everything else. These are things we need to stop. But yet, our dictator and Elon Musk have literally been given keys to the kingdom to do whatever they want to this country, to whomever they want. Because whereas you know, Elon's was supposed to be the head of the Department of Doge, you know, but yet it's got somebody who's named as the head of Doge, but yet Elon has and is privy to all that information, and it all goes through him before it goes through Trump. Now, he also was asked a question on live TV. Well, what if you come up with a conflict of interest? Well, he's done that. And guess what? Yes, he's used it to his advantage. He's undercut people. He's made sure that, that their funding is, instead of them getting the funding on time, that they're getting late installments or delayed payments and everything else. So he's trying to make sure that all these things happen. That is an issue. Because I don't know about you guys, but this whole thing with, the deal with Taiwan, okay, yeah, that's good. But that's also, besides the tariffs and everything on China, that's just another, FU to China. And, literally urging them, come on, I dare you. Like he just can't wait to go after China for some reason, because China has threatened, obviously, to go after and take Taiwan and claim it as its own territory, whereas they were told that they don't have a right to, they're their own people, this, that, and the other. Well, do you think that they're going to listen when, we have a dictator who's doing the exact same thing? But with him making the 30-year deal with Taiwan, it's the fact that he's also letting China know, hey, we have a deal with China, so don't mess with them, or pretty much that Taiwan is under the U.S.'s protection. For somebody who doesn't want to be a wartime president, well, at least his first term he wasn't, but this time around, him wanting to take this authoritative and dictatorial attitude with everything and want to literally cut ties and to pretty much, how to put it? Oh, I have a good word for it. Isolate. That's exactly what our dictator has been doing, because it's the same thing that China did to their people, Russia has done to their people, and all the other, dictatorial, authoritative, and everything, all those countries, it's because they've taken it by force, or they've made sure that, they've isolated, their country, so that way there was no outside influence, no outside, propaganda, no outside coverage, no this, no that, and for Trump to allow Elon to stop providing aid to the networks and everything else that literally kept China in check, and who reported globally, and were funded and everything else, by our tax money to make sure that China didn't try to take over, nor do things inhumanely and all that other stuff. We've had them in every budget for over a century. And now he wants to repeal that. And now all of a sudden, you know, China's been laughing in our faces, been cheering our dictator, because all he's been doing and all he's continued to do is just piss the world off. Now, here's my question. So, if pissing the world off is what our supposed elected official and representative of our views, our morals, our moral compass, our values, the way that we believe things should be done, and to where he's, bypass Congress, to where Congress can't do nothing about it. I mean, they're trying to fight it, through the judicial system, but that's going to take too long. By then, the damage is already going to be done. So my question is, why are we allowing this? So this week that we're going to be shutting down the government and shutting down corporations, I honestly and truly believe that it should be a week where you take your kids, and for that week, for all schools, because I believe teachers should go on strike, and I believe that all parents should take their children and go and honestly, peacefully protest about the fact that our voices are being silenced, that the person who is being a dictator of our country, that is supposed to be a democratic country, to where it's supposed to be a land of freedoms, a land of rights, a land of civil rights, a land of guarantees, a land of constitutional, unbreakable bonds. And yet, what's been happening? He has been allowed to circumvent all of it. Every single one of your rights, your freedoms, your values, your ethics, your morals, it no longer exists or matter, apparently, because, well, then again, unless you're a Trumpinite and, a part of, the dictators, cult, because that's all it is. It's the hive mindset. And that's what the cult mindset is that, oh, well, I'm just, following orders. I'm just, doing what the person in charge said. Well, guess what? All the Nazis who went before and were tried and, for crimes against humanity and everything else, and why the Geneva Convention was created, they said the same thing about Hitler. Well, I was just, doing what I was told. I was just following orders. So here's my question. Are you going to follow a dictator's orders? Or are you going to stand up for yourselves? Let your voice be heard. Let your accountability be known, and the fact that you hold that dictator accountable, and that he is, by law, by constitutional law, by federal law, electoral law, and so many other laws, he is supposed to represent the collective, not just himself. And also, that collective is not just supposed to be those who put money in his pocket, those who are in his good old boys club, those who, are in the 1%, and then the 1% of the 1%. He's supposed to be a representation of all of us, what we stand for, what we as a nation, what our voices say, what our minds, what our believe, and what our hearts feel. That's what it's supposed to be. And yet we have somebody who doesn't even think that you're a person. And this goes again to the DEI aspect. Why is it that 2.5 million people had to lose their job? Why is it that, the tops of all of the watchdog offices, where, complaints against Musk were being filed, and the fact that, the dictator actually abused his power, and to where him and his administration should be impeached. And this is according to constitutional law, because of one, what they did to Zelensky; two, what they've asked Netanyahu to do; three, the fact that we are being ignored; for the fact that he's tried to circumvent and trying to consolidate power to himself. And he's trying to, and his collective, he thinks, like I said, is just a good old boys club. We, the people, apparently no longer matter. Because unless we meet a certain criteria, or have a certain pay grade, or live in a certain amount of comfort, guess what? Yeah, we're screwed. Whereas I plan on standing up for you guys, because trust me, I've heard your voices. I hear them all the time. I've seen the suffering. I've lived it firsthand. And it just gets to me that nobody is willing to step up. So, but I am. All I'm asking you guys to do is to search your own souls, search your own hearts, search your own minds. For God's sake, swallow the red pill and wake up to reality, instead of taking the blue pill and just being like, oh yeah, everything's fine. It's normal. It should be this way. It'll get better. They know what they're doing. No, they don't. They are hoping that you are going to continuously just simply stay in that sedative and, the mindset of, just go along to get along. Let's not rock the boat. Let's not cause any waves. Let's not cause any commotion. Let's not draw attention to ourselves. Well, I think it's time for our voices to get extremely loud, to get extremely vocal, and to where they cannot ignore us, to where we get to the point to where they are going to sleep hearing us in their dreams. Matter of fact, I think that for the week of the 6th or the 11th, make your voices loud enough. If you can't get to Washington, D.C., go to your local government. Go to your mayor. Go to your governor. Go to your state capital. Go to your city's, county, whatever. Go to wherever you possibly can. Because unless we make them hear us, and to where we do not give them a micrometer, because they think that we're always going to budge, that we're always going to bend, that we're always going to bow. Well, I can tell you that no matter by what name you call God, I can tell you, me personally, I bend no knee, nor do I bow to any man. I will bow my head to God. I will bend my knee to God, but not for a dictator, not for somebody and not for a country who continuously, ignores and just wants to thumb their nose and act like what we have to say is no longer important and that we no longer matter, that, we're always told, oh, don't worry, we'll handle it. Just, know your place. That's what we're constantly told. Are you tired of that yet? Are you tired of being told, know your place? Well, guess what? I do know my place. And now, hopefully, you guys know yours too, because your place is in the face of every elected official that we put in power to be our voice, to represent us and everything else, to stop failing us in such a colossal way, and of the sheer magnitude of, I hate to say stupidity, but there's no really other word to use, because of how much they sit there and think that, okay, well, we've gotten away with this. Well, let's try this. No, enough is enough. I'm putting my line in the sand. Are you going to draw the line in your sand and not move and not, let them cross it? Or are you just going to bury your head in the sand like you have been and just hoping that everything works out around you? Because I can tell you, those who bury their head in the sand are the same ones who are first to slaughter, who are first to lose everything. I'm tired of losing my rights, my freedoms, my values, my morals, and for my voice to stop being ignored. Now is your time for yours to do the same. But that is my time for this week. I want you guys to think about what I said, because it is highly important. And I can't stress it enough, because without you, and without you guys behind me, and without you guys standing up for your belief system and your values and your ethics and morals, and just letting somebody else destroy them, then then do you. But those of you who actually listen and have swallowed the red pill and woke up, welcome to the conversation. I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, may God, Yeshua, and the Holy Spirit bless you, your family, your loved ones, your friends, protect you from your enemies, protect you from the enemy. Shalom, shalom, and assalamu alaikum. You guys have a good night.